This is the sports dynasty of all sports dynasties. They dominate the whole history of the game.
The Yankees are world champions.
5 World Series in a row for Casey Stengel and his American League whiz-bangs. They made baseball history. What a team.
It was our religion. It wasn't a game, it was our religion. We lived and died being a Yankee. The Yankees represented the pinnacle of sports.
People root for the underdog, but they really love a winner. The Yankees are baseball's winners.
Then in 1936, Barrow brought in a man who would take what was already a great franchise and elevate it to the realm of greatest.
If you look at the all-time standings of baseball teams at the end of the 1935 season, and gauge teams in terms of how many championships they've won, the Yankees would have been on an all-time list 4th. Then Joe DiMaggio arrives. And by the time he's been there 4 years, they are firmly established as first on that list, and they're beginning to run away from the pack.
I first joined the club in 1936, and it gave them a good, real shot in the arm because they felt, well, here I got a chance to be independent and possibly a World Series playing for the greatest city in the world, New York City.
That DiMaggio is a star in 3 very, very important ways. He can run like the devil, he can throw, and he can bat. And he's just a kid.
In Joltin' Joe's first 3 years, the Yankees became the first team ever to win 3 world championships in a row. It was also in 1938 that Lou Gehrig played in his 2000th straight game.
Lou, I want to congratulate you on your wonderful career in playing 2,000 games without missing a game. And I hope I'm around here when you play your next 2,000.
Thank you very much.
You've done a wonderful job, and you should be congratulated, and I'm sure that you're going to continue for a long time to come.
Thank you, Joe.
No one knew in '38 that Gehrig was suffering from the early stages of the mysterious disease that would soon take his life. At first, only Yankees management seemed to notice that Lou's performance was slipping, so much so that in 1938, Barrow cut Gehrig's salary by $3,000.
In 1939, we played him the first part of the season, and he just wasn't sharp. He's just not Lou Gehrig.
After meeting with McCarthy, Lou decided to finally sit down for the good of the team. And so on May 2nd in Detroit, Gehrig took a lineup card to home plate that did not bear his name. After 2,130 straight games, the incredible streak was over. His replacement that day, Babe Dahlgren, hit a double and a home run. Gehrig never once left the bench.
The 7th inning, I went to him. I said, Lou, you got to get in the ball game. Keep that streak going. He just said, no, you're doing fine, Babe. Just go on, get out there. And that was it, and the streak was broken.
On July 4th, 1939, the Yankees held Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day, featuring a reunion of the great Murderers Row team of 1927. Lou's number 4 became the first number retired in baseball history. And Gehrig, his disease by then diagnosed and made known to the public, spoke the most famous words the game has ever known.
Actually, it was a dead man talking. He knew he was going to die. And to go and face all of these people in that stadium and stumble out there took a lot of guts. But he had a lot of guts.
For the past 2 weeks, you've been reading about a bad brag. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Lou never played again, but continued to dress for every game, silently watching his teammates win their 4th straight world championship. Less than 2 years later, at the age of just 37, Lou Gehrig died. After Mickey Mantle's Triple Crown season, the first Triple Crown won by a Yankees player since Lou Gehrig in 1934, Mantle expected to be paid accordingly. General Manager George Weiss felt otherwise.
First contract I got the next year was for a $5,000 raise. I thought he'd sent the contract to the wrong guy or something. Anyway, I finally got a hold of Mr. Weiss, and I told him that I wanted to double my contract. He says, you know, you're only 25 or 26 years old. How are we going to pay you when you're 30? He said, well, I'm going to tell you something else. He said, if you don't sign this contract, I'm going to trade you to Cleveland for Herb Score and Rocky Colavito.
Frosty, tight-fisted, all-powerful. If you did not accept what he was offering, your option was to go home.
Yankees co-owner Del Webb convinced Weiss to do something he almost never did, give in.
Del Webb finally made George Weiss double my contract that year. Went from $32,500 to $65,000, which was a pretty good leap in those days. The next year I hit $365 and had 35 homers, right at it 100 RBIs. It was a good year. Well, the first contract I got the next year was for a $10,000 cut because I didn't do as good as I did in '56, he said.
Weiss had built the Yankees dynasties as both director of the farm system and general manager. His unrivaled eye for talent was blinded by only one thing: color. During the 8 years after the Dodgers signed Jackie Robinson, Weiss refused to put a black player on the Yankees roster. He finally succumbed to pressure in 1955 and brought up Elston Howard. Primarily a catcher, Howard would become an all-star 9 years in a row.
Elston was a blue-collar worker. You know, he wasn't out for glamour. I mean, when he got behind the plate, a lot of days he would catch doubleheaders. He never complained.
And once Joe DiMaggio left the team, the torch of leadership was passed to catcher Yogi Berra, one of the game's most respected players by both his teammates and his peers.
Yogi's greatest asset was deliver under pressure. He was a great clutch hitter. When the hitters needed to win that game, he is more likely to produce it than most other people.
The greatest 7th, 8th, and 9th inning hitter in baseball is Yogi Berra.
Berra became the first American League catcher to be named MVP 3 times, capturing the honor in '51, '54, and '55. But beyond the awards and heroics, there's one thing Yogi remembered best about his team.
We had more fun than anything. Whitey, myself, Mickey, Billy. We had a lot of fun.
If you wanted to go to a movie, you sat in the lobby, and the first guy that came down wanted to go to the movie, you went to the movie with him. It wasn't a question, I don't want to go with that guy or this guy. Anybody was okay, because they were all good guys.
The men who wore the pinstripes during this stretch helped make the Yankees clubhouse a special place. The camaraderie even seemed to revitalize players thought to be past their prime.
Johnny Mize or Johnny Sain, all these old guys used to come to the Yankees at the end of their careers when they weren't really doing that well, and when they come to the Yankees, for some reason or other, it just seemed like they did better again.
There was a lot of pride wearing a Yankee uniform. We were not jealous of one another. We played together as a team. I mean, it seemed like everybody we got in trades knew what we had to do. We had to win a pennant. We all benefited by it. The ball players, when they joined us at the end of the season, like Enos Slaughter, we gave him a full share, which the next year in spring training, they busted their fanny to stay and be a Yankee. And that's why the Yankees were successful.